Motion?
How I analyze a Brady motion?
Yes.
Senator, in my 4.5 years on the bench, don't believe I've had the occasion to address a Brady motion in my career.
Do you know what a Brady motion is?
Senator, in my time on the bench, I've not had occasion to address that, and so it's not coming to mind at the moment what a Brady motion is.
I want to be sure I understand your records. We'll start with Judge Cruz. Judge Cruz, you handled a case called ViaNet Operating Group v. Maurice. Is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
You handled a case called Moodin v. University of Colorado. Is that right?
I believe so, Senator, yes.
And you were reversed in that case, right?
I believe a portion of my recommendation was reversed, yes.
Okay. Did you handle a case called Vreeland v. Vigil?
Yes, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case too?
A portion of that was reversed as well, yes.
Okay. Did you handle a case called Vreeland v. Olson?
Yes, Senator.
And were you reversed in that case too?
A portion of that was reversed as well, yes.
Okay. You handled a case called Key Bank National Association v. Williams. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, I've issued over 1,500 recommendations and orders over the course of my 4 years on the bench, and that is one that was partially reversed, yes.
Okay. You handled a case called Renault v. Cardenas. Do you remember that case?
Yes, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case too?
A portion of that was reversed as well.
Do you remember a case called Janney v. Gomez?
Yes, Senator.
And were you reversed in that case?
A portion of that was reversed as well, Senator.
Okay. How about a case, do you remember this case, Judge? Schwartz v. City of Denver?
The name is familiar, Senator. For all the cases I've handled, I'm not recalling particulars about that case.
Okay. Do you remember being reversed in that case?
Senator, I'm not specifically recalling that case.
Okay. Do you remember a case called Lucas v. Board of Commissioners of Larimer County?
The name is familiar, Senator. The details of the case are not coming to hand at the moment.
Do you remember being reversed in that case?
Senator, I don't recall offhand at the moment with that case.
Do you remember a case called Brooks v. Colorado Department of Corrections?
Yes, Senator.
Were you reversed in that case?
I'm not recalling offhand if that was one where I had a partial reversal.
Okay. Do you remember a case called ACV Jefferson County School District?
Yes, Senator.
Were you reversed in that case?
I was partially reversed in that case as well.
Okay. You remember a case called Blake v. United States?
The name sounds familiar, Senator.
Okay. Do you remember being reversed in that case?
I don't specifically recall that particular case.
Okay. Well, I've got others here. Cases that you handled in which you were reversed. Tell me why you've been reversed so often, Judge.
Well, Senator, as I indicated, I've issued over 1,500 recommendations and orders over the course of my career. When I approach any of these cases, I approach them all in the same fashion, which is to analyze the law, analyze the Supreme Court and 10th Circuit precedent that bears on those cases, and I apply those cases to the law to the facts of that case. As a magistrate judge, many of those are recommendations that are made which are reviewed de novo. I respect the decisions of those district judges who viewed those circumstances differently.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Tell me how you analyze a Brady motion.
How I analyze a Brady motion?
Yes.
Senator, in my 4.5 years on the bench, don't believe I've had the occasion to address a Brady motion in my career.
Do you know what a Brady motion is?
Senator, in my time on the bench, I've not had occasion to address that, and so it's not coming to mind at the moment what a Brady motion is.
Do you recall the U.S. Supreme Court case Brady v. Maryland?
I do recall the name of the case, Senator, yes.
And what did it hold?
I believe that the Brady case, Senator, I believe the Brady case involves something regarding the Second Amendment. It is not, I've not had occasion to address that. If that issue were to come before me, I would certainly analyze that Supreme Court precedent and apply it as I would need to the facts in front of me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor, I'm looking at a letter dated March 16, 2020. It's a letter to Governor Lamont in Connecticut. The title of it is Urgent Action Needed to Protect Individuals in Connecticut's Prisons and Jails from Coronavirus 19 Pandemic. Did you sign that letter?
So I don't recall sitting here today, Senator.
Here's your signature. Here it is back here. Why didn't you turn this over to us when you were asked to submit documents?
So, Senator, I made every effort to search for everything that I had ever signed. That's not a letter I remember, but I will certainly take a look at that. And
We found it was with a search on the internet.
so I apologize, Senator. I apologize.
In
that
your
I missed
letter
that.
to the governor, here's what you say. As they stand, prisons and jails are detrimental to public health and human rights and disproportionately harm marginalized communities, including Black, Brown, Indigenous, and other communities of color, immigrants, people with mental illness, people with disabilities, people in the LGBTQ plus community, people who use drugs, people engaged in sex work and street economies, and people experiencing houselessness and poverty. So if you believe that about our prisons, how are you going to ever sentence somebody to prison?
So, Senator, I will need to take a look at that letter, and I apologize that that's not something I found to hand to this committee.
You're not denying you said that.
I do need to see the letter to see the context, because again, it's not something I remember adding my name to. I can assure you,
Right.
Senator.
And you also say, first, you call on Governor Lamont to release everybody in jail. Is that right? Because of the coronavirus?
So again, Senator, I would need to see that letter in front of me. It certainly was not.
You can find it just put your name into Google. You'll find it in about 3 nanoseconds.
I will, Senator. I can assure you that
You said in your letter, Professor, we call on Governor Lamont, state of Connecticut, and all Connecticut jurisdictions to immediate release to the maximum extent possible people incarcerated pre-trial and post-conviction. And then you go on to say, talking once again about our jails, the global COVID-19 pandemic is throwing into sharp relief the untenable state of our penal system and the need for sustained action to shrink its scale, shrink its size, and shrink its scope. You sound here like the district attorney in San Francisco. If you believe that, how are you going to ever sentence anybody to jail, Professor?
I can assure you, Senator, that I understand the role of the judge, and that I can assure you prison time is an appropriate sentence in many cases.
That's not what you say here to the governor. You wrote the governor. This isn't some DoorDash delivery guy. You wrote the governor of your state 3 years ago.
So again, Senator.
I went to law school.
So again, Senator, I would need to look at the letter. It sounds like it was written at the height of the pandemic, where governors were looking for.
You also wrote the governor, you said, people over the age of 55 are at the greatest risk for COVID-19, but also pose the least public safety risk to our communities. People in this age group can and should be released immediately to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. You think the governor just, if you're over the age of 55, he should let everybody go?
No, Senator, that's not a position.
That's what you said.
Okay.
Here it is, big as Dallas.
Again, Senator, I will look at that letter. I can assure you that
Find it on Google, Professor. You also say Governor Lamont should issue an executive order to direct the state's attorney offices and law enforcement entities, including the town and city police departments, and any federal law enforcement entity operating within the state to immediately cease adding to the incarcerated prison population given the high risk of infection posed by the population increase. You asked the governors to tell every law enforcement official in the state to stop arresting people and putting them in jail, didn't you?
So again, Senator, I have to look at that letter. I do think there were modifications that the governors were making around the country to respond to the
You also
pandemic.
had an opinion in your letter about, can I have another 30 seconds, Mr. You had an opinion in your letter about immigration. You said immigration detention poses the same health risks to jails and prisons, and Connecticut law enforcement must stop feeding people into the unsafe and inhumane immigration detention system. Then you say Governor Lamont should release all individuals currently in state custody who are awaiting transfer to ICE custody, and the governor should declare a moratorium on all such future transfers. How